Hello. Today, we will be conducting the Civil Rights Training specific for the Emergency Food Assistance Program, otherwise known as TFAP. This training is an annual requirement of any staff or volunteer that helps out at a food bank partner agency and may come in direct contact with anyone that is receiving food. What you can expect from today is a quick overview of what TFAP is, a brief review of the laws and programs that the Office of General Services is responsible for, and then on to the meat of the training, the area of compliance. You can see them all listed here: assurances, customer service and conflict resolution, public notification requirements, complaints of discrimination, civil rights training, race and ethnicity data collection, limited English proficiency, or LEP, disability discrimination, equal opportunity for religious organizations, and compliance reviews. Since this is a whole lot of information, let's get started. TFAP is a federal program hosted by the Food and Nutrition Service, the FNS branch of the United States Department of Agriculture, or the USDA. The goal of the program is to help supplement the diets of low-income Americans by providing them with emergency food assistance at no cost. Any foods distributed through USDA programs are called USDA foods. All USDA foods, regardless of the program, are 100% domestic. The USDA delegates an agency within each state to administer the TFAP program in that state. These agencies are known as the State Distributing Agency, or the SDA. In New York State, this agency would be the Office of General Services. Services isn't just making stuff up when they are requiring folks to take this training annually. The list of legal authorities calls out exactly what parts of law that directly impact the creation and content of the civil rights training. And we can all use a regular refresher on this information. The civil rights legal authorities include laws that go back to 1964. Any changes to regulations and laws will be included in the civil rights legal authorities right up to the present day. There are many programs that fall under the civil rights legal authorities. Those include the Child Nutrition Programs, National School Lunch Program, Special Milk Program, School Breakfast Program, Summer Food Service Program, Child and Adult Care Food Program, and the Emergency Food Assistance Program, or TFAP. Areas of compliance, assurances. This language is included in each of our food bank and program agreements, specifically stating that everyone will be operating in compliance of civil rights law. Discrimination is the different treatment which makes a distinction of one person or a group of persons from others, either intentionally, by neglect, or by the actions or lack of actions. Treating people differently does not necessarily constitute unlawful discrimination. Examples of discrimination that are not unlawful could be an employer choosing to hire one person instead of another based on merit. A restaurant can turn people away if admission would cause the establishment to exceed by its occupancy limits. No shirt, no shoes, no service. FNS programs. Complaints are based on one or more of the following 6 federally protected bases: race, color, national origin, age, sex, and disability. Civil rights law and regulations also have requirement factors to consider in addressing LEP and bilingual requirements. What is the definition of disability? A person who has a physical or mental impairment which substantially limits one or more major life activities, has a record of such impairment, or is regarded as having such an impairment. Major life activity means functions, such as caring for oneself, performing manual tasks, walking, seeing, hearing, speaking, breathing, learning, and working. Functions of the immune system, normal cell growth, digestive, bowel, bladder, neurological, brain, respiratory, circulatory, cardiovascular, endocrine, and reproductive functions are all protected and considered disabilities under the ADA Amendments Act of 2008 by law. Our civil rights laws also protect equal opportunity for religious organizations and ensures a level playing field for the participation of faith-based organizations and other community organizations in USDA programs. Talking about the verification of immigrant status, please remember this should never give rise to discrimination. It should never become an issue. New York State also has its own list of protected classes. These include race, national origin, sex, domestic violence, victim status, predisposing genetic characteristics, retaliation against anyone who has made a complaint about discrimination, creed, sexual orientation, age, disability, gender identity or expression, pregnancy-related condition, color, military status, marital status, lawful source of income and housing only, prior arrest or conviction record, and familial status. It might seem like common sense, and yet it is always good to get a friendly reminder. Your interactions with a client might be the only opportunity for them to have a positive experience that day. Let that sink in for a moment. So we want to treat people with dignity and respect, answer the questions that they have with a voice that is non-threatening, clearly explain to everyone the rules as well as their rights and responsibilities. Find and use tools and techniques to improve customer service. We can all use improvement and we can still learn. And recognize that participants have varied needs and sometimes very limited resources. And please don't forget to smile. Smiles welcome people into positive environments. You are someone's brightest moment of the day. Let's face it, people go to pantries and shelters not because they want to, but because they have to. If your greeter for the day is feeling a bit moody, and we all know we've had those days, maybe that person should not be the one welcoming folks into the program for that day. If there's a negative interaction between a staff or volunteer and a client, please remember conversations and interactions are a two-way street. It is better to find a way to de-escalate a situation, and it could be as easy as swapping out who is interacting with that client at that very moment. It is not necessarily a way to let them win, as some may say, but a way to allow all parties to maintain their dignity and respect as humans. So let's carry this on into this next topic of conflict resolution. Some tips to keep in mind is to notice when a person is feeling like they've been treated rudely. Really work on listening and listening skills that allow you to hear what the person is saying. Empathy, put yourself in their place. And let's face it, not everyone's going to be a satisfied customer, so let's develop some skills on how to handle those situations when a client is not feeling satisfied. And take those learned experiences to improve your customer satisfaction. overall. Ask yourself, am I treating this person in the same manner as I treat others? Customers and clients who are behaving in a difficult manner usually have not had their expectations met or do not fully understand the role of the worker. So clients could come in and they're not always at their best. Like, that's just the reality. And many often come in with a heightened sense of urgency. They do have that tunnel vision and are only aware of oneself because they have to have their immediate needs met. Remember, food is not a right, it's a fundamental need. So as staff and volunteers, we need to choose our words carefully and be cognizant of the tone of voice that we're using. And we don't just speak with our voices, we speak with our face, with our eyes, and with our body. So keep full awareness of what we are saying with our whole self. If you do find yourself in a difficult situation, keep some things in mind. Remain calm, listen, and take your time. Let people know that you want to help them and that you are here for them, and see how you can be of assistance. While listening to them, use the information that they've given you to help you work through the problem. And don't dwell on that problem. Be solutions focused. Look for an end result. Throughout all of this, please be full of gratitude to the client, knowing that they came in and is asking for help. Be grateful for the people that are working side by side with you. Don't take it personally, and follow up. Personally, make sure that the customer has been satisfied, and they'll provide feedback. Try to assist a client by providing the best customer service you can, and the individual remains argumentative or outright abusive, then do not allow yourself to be abused and do not argue back. Keep your own sense of self-confidence, but still remain helpful. Anytime you feel someone is truly physically threatening, get away from the person and call the police. And remember, our shared goal with this is to achieve an acceptable resolution. So calling the police should be the last possible resort. Find that way to de-escalate the situation first. Find a way to still serve that individual because they are in need of food. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come to you. But the most important thing is to maintain the health and safety of you, your volunteers and staff, and the other clients. Conflicts don't always have to be negative. Sometimes they can actually have a really good outcome. As an agency who has the right to distribute TFAP product, there are some requirements around public notification. And its purpose is to inform applicants, participants, and potentially eligible people of what the program is and what the rights and responsibilities of the program is, the non-discrimination policy, and if there is an issue, how to go about filing a complaint. Getting nervous about, oh my gosh, I don't have these things posted. Take a breath, relax. I bet you already do. So to make the program information available to the public upon request is super simple. You just need to prominently display that "And Justice for All" poster, which you should already have on your wall where any client can see it. All of the information needed is listed on that poster. And for those of you who are a little bit curious about what the non-discrimination statement actually looks like, here's the one with that is actually on the poster. So you don't need to have a second poster of this. It does not need to be written out or posted separately. It is already there within that poster. Agencies must display in a prominent location for all to view the "And Justice for All" poster. So make sure you take a look around your agency and double check that you have the most current poster up. If it has a picture of the Statue of Liberty, it is outdated and you do need the updated green one. What exactly is a complaint of discrimination? A complaint of discrimination is when a client claims that the agency or a staff at the agency has treated them differently by distinguishing them from others. This treatment can be an action or verbal expression. Complaints of discrimination are taken very seriously by the USDA. We have to accept them as the food bank, and that means that our partner agencies and or the clients need to make sure that we get them so that we can in turn forward them onto the USDA. They must be filed within 180 days of the incident. We can accept written and verbal and even anonymous complaints. If we choose to create our own complaint form, we cannot use it to predetermine if the situation is really discrimination. A complaint log needs to be maintained, and above all else, confidentiality is paramount. Think about your process for handling complaints of discrimination at your agency. Think about how you would handle a complaint if it came in from a volunteer or even a client. What would you do at your agency? Jot down some notes or thoughts here. Well, for starters, have a plan. And at the very least, post the "And Justice for All" poster if you don't have a plan in place. And then reach out to us here at the food bank. It's never a bad idea to be prepared for a worst case scenario. What would you do? Remember to have that "And Justice for All" poster and use us. We're here as your partner. All right, let's take a look at what we're doing right now. This is an annual civil rights training. State agencies are responsible for training sub-recipient agencies. So food banks are responsible for training you guys on an annual basis. The training log documenting yearly trainings of food bank staff and volunteers is required. So not only do our partner agencies have to do this training, but us here as food bank staff also have to do this training annually, and we have to have it recorded. You are responsible for training at your local site. Anyone who comes in contact with a client. If it's possible for a volunteer or staff to come in contact with a client, they should go through this training and then sign off on it, at least on an annual basis. You can have a printout of the slides at your agency to review if that is the method that you choose to use. You can review the annual training that is recorded here. You can come in person at the food bank when it is offered. Any method that works for your staff and volunteers to learn and to refresh themselves with this information is acceptable, and it must be documented, so make sure folks are signing off that they've completed it. New employees must receive training before participating in your program. Volunteers must receive the training appropriate to their roles and responsibilities. So what is included in the annual civil rights training exactly? Well, everything that I've been going over today. We'll also make available the slide deck provided by the Office of General Services, and that includes some information in Spanish as well as instructions and address to submit complaints. The compliance review, also known as the TFAP audit. This is an examination of activities of state agencies, sub-recipients, and local sites to determine the civil rights compliance. Significant findings must be provided in writing to the reviewed entity and to the FNS. So what this actually looks like for you is the Office of General Services comes to the food bank and does a compliance audit. They can also go to your pantry, shelter, meal site and do a compliance audit there. We also, as the food bank, include compliance audits as part of your biennial site visit. None of this should be a surprise to any of our partners. All of the information should be readily available to the food bank or the Office of General Services upon request. And also available soon will be a recording of what to expect with an Office of General Services compliance review of your agency or the TFAP audit. So stay tuned for that training. For your review, here are some additional resources that you may find helpful. If you find the need to reach out to the Office of General Services, feel free to contact them with the information here. And then, of course, our contact information at the Food Bank of the Southern Tier. We are always here and ready to assist you with any of your comments, questions, or concerns. Thank you for your time.